Hello.
Hey there.
I like your sweatshirt hoodie.
Oh, thank you. I don't know why I haven't been able to figure out my temperature situation in my apartment for like 2 months now.
It's weird here. It's like -10 and then +10, and yeah, that's also weird.
Right? But I love the high neck on different things. I like that your sweater has a high neck.
Yeah, it's nice. I can just hide.
Yeah, that's story of my life.
How
Uh,
was your presentation?
it was really good. Like I really was not sure how it was going to go. Even putting the talk together, I wasn't sure exactly what was going to be covered. Like I kind of had a loose idea, but it ended up diverging a bit from the curriculum. Hi, Victor. And so it was really nice. I think the reception was really good, to be
Yeah,
honest.
I saw the tweet or a LinkedIn post. That was cool.
Yeah, I haven't even made my own LinkedIn post yet, but we got a ton of folks who are both practitioners interested in doing this sort of stuff in their organizations, but also like kind of thought leaders in the data engineering space who are working on things. And they like, I remember one time during a group discussion, I mentioned what an S-bomb was, and it apparently blew people's mind to hear about an S, which was,
Okay.
yeah, it
Yeah.
sparked this huge discussion. People were coming up to me afterwards, like, I'd never heard of an S-bomb before. And I was like, this is some really basic stuff.
I was writing about S-bombs 2 years ago or something.
Yeah, right. And I
Yeah,
think that the data community is so behind that when we mention these things, like,
it's
you know,
interesting.
so the data community now is everybody is in their own little chapter trying to figure out what would be like a data supply, like what would be a data bill of materials, right?
Right.
Because we were discussing what data products were. And I think that like it's a little grounding to the community to be able to have examples.
Are they gonna call it a D-bomb?
You know what? That's the idea, but
That's cool.
we're encouraged, at least on our side, to be the first to write the blog posts just to get credit for the idea. So we'll probably do that on the CDF.
That's cool.
Yeah, just explaining what an S-bomb is and how it can be applicable to a D-bomb. And then I think one of the nice things too is that we can backlog all of the previous blog posts that you've written on the subject. So I think that people can bring
I
in their,
mean, I wrote them for like a client, but yeah.
yeah.
I can look at what I had written and steal my own ideas.
Yeah, stealing your own ideas. I love it. Yeah.
Hi,
Victor,
Victor. I don't think we've met before.
yeah, why don't we introduce ourselves? Um,
You go first.
yeah, I certainly can. I just want to make sure that you can hear us okay. But that's okay. I can go first. My name is Lisa. I am helping head and wrangle this initiative together. In ways, I'm mostly a data engineer by training and working on a data catalog, but I'm part of the CDF as an ambassador. So I'm really excited to help kick this off.
Yeah, and I'm Roxanne Jonka. I work for the CDF. I do all the content and help market everything that we do, and so I'm here and I'm excited about that. These meetings, I think at first will be more like getting people together and then we'll figure out a way to work together, right, Lisa?
Yeah, it will
Yeah.
definitely be a lot of getting us all on the same page and in agreement, and then figuring out roles for everybody. It's just because we're quite fresh on all of this. So,
Yeah.
yeah. If you're comfortable, feel free to introduce yourself. But if you want to be more of a passive observer, that's totally okay too.
Yeah, I can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I have all kinds of connection and headset problem. So yeah, I just heard what you just said now. Yeah, I'm an independent based in Florida. I was in worked for Oracle actually for 17 years. So database and in other words, data is my interest. I've been interested in AI for a while, and then actually, at least I know you like for who's that team that the Alpha AI project. You talk about yeah, the CD initiatives. Yeah, I think this initiative definitely is needed. There's a lot of discussion, a lot of good understanding about AI workflow, how to develop models, etc. But there's not enough about data. For example, one particular interest I see is so-called data cloud. I know this is not CI/CD, but I think it's related, right? Because
Hmm.
my understanding, for example, sales is I know it's kind of marketing term by by Salesforce primarily, but I think it's an interesting concept, at least need to be analyzed. Yeah, especially in the age of AI, what does it mean to have a database? Do you need the same workflow? If AI agent is going to do everything, do you still need the same traditional software workflow or not, the SaaS workflow? Yeah, all that could be, I guess, answers from this initiative. I hope at least.
Yeah, no, I think that's a really interesting notion. I'm glad you brought that up because I think that when I think of the DevOps community, a lot of the folks are working mainly with like transactional views of data, right? Not necessarily analytical views of data. And part of this is bridging what it means to actually run an analytics workflow and database. And that view is really nice. If you have any links around that, I had not personally heard or read from about the blog post, but I'd love to kind of share some ideas with you around that if you're up for it.
Yeah, I'll post that in the chat.
Yeah, that would
Thanks.
be fantastic. Awesome.
Lisa, we had many people apply.
Okay. Yeah. Victor's gonna work with us today and help us figure out what to do with these folks who've applied as part of the initiative.
Yeah.
Do you want to go over some of the or just summarize, I guess, some of the applications? I can take a look at it too, but we can.
Yeah, I don't want to share the emails on my screen, but you can look at the link I sent you.
Yes.
So we have a mix of everything. We have 2 proofreaders, 3 technical editors, and 3 technical writers. And they heard about us from everywhere, the website, social media, a friend at an event, Slack, coworker. So that's pretty cool. And they're from everywhere. Yeah, so Steve couldn't join today because he's in another meeting, but I trust him as a proofreader, so I already accepted him. But I don't know how you want to uh, do that, and like how do we onboard them basically?
Yeah, I think kind of the easiest way is because today seems more like an organizational meeting for
Yeah.
us to kind of get our bearings together. Maybe bringing them all on and then we'll do a presentation for the next meeting, kind of
Okay.
saying
Yeah.
like, hey, this is what it is. And we can record these meetings as well and post them on like YouTube or something like that. The
Yeah.
CDF has a YouTube.
Yes.
I don't know if there's a ton of value in posting this meeting. I'm happy to do either. And I love that there's such a distribution.
Yeah.
I think
That's
that
cool.
really, yeah. And we have some of the materials ready together, like templates, and I think folks are really keen to get straight into sort of developing the course in the back of their mind.
Yeah.
Um, and so Victor, I know that you kind of uh got here through another means. Is how much do you know about the initiative? And we can kind of help jump you in as well.
Oh, I know about CD. I'm on the Slack, so I know what you're doing in
Okay.
general, not in detail. But actually, I do like to be really get a landscape overview or education regarding. I know what CD is doing, but there is a lot of things outside of CD. For example, Argo CD and Flux, right? And so there's a little related, but not in the CD ecosystem. So yeah, like I guess I don't know the details for sure. I'd love to see what's the current plan to I guess include everybody in
Yes.
this discovery.
We're considering you part of the initiative already, but would you be interested in kind of filling out our form? So we have a form that we're having some folks uh use just so that we can understand maybe what they're interested in working on. our general idea right now is that we're going to develop a series of blog posts and course materials that kind of help bridge these two worlds together. And so it really helps just because not everybody knows everything, to understand what people are interested in their terms of expertise and domain. How does that sound?
Yeah, I'm just opening the form. Yeah,
Yeah.
I can fill it up. Yeah.
Yeah. And then that way we have it all in kind of one place. And then for the next meeting, we'll probably do a presentation and we'll get people to sign up for very specific roles. We'll probably start with maybe one or two chapters to really kind of follow through with some of the ideas. If people want to write blog posts to kind of really just get their stuff out there on the CDF, we're happy to support it. I love these blog posts that you've sent actually. And I think one of the interesting things that Salesforce does is that they really tailor to like the SaaS consumer. I think that some of the things that we do in terms of technical material in the community is so deep in the weeds and like the Substacks and the mediums, and they're not really meant like they're meant to be digestible, but I think a lot of folks use them to really kind of throw out their technical ideas instead of figuring out the value prop of doing a lot of this stuff too. And the benchmarking is really cool. I'd love to explore a similar thing that we could do. For sure. What do you think?
Yeah, yeah. So by the way, so by using the Salesforce as an example, I don't mean they're already, in this area. I think they're just kind of marketing term for them
Yeah.
to say, we already got here this SaaS application, we're just be the leader in this field. I think that's what they're doing. Not necessarily they're already there, but I think fundamentally, it's like just like everybody is focusing on like CI/CD for originally software, now more and more models. There's not as much enough at least attention to how data is gonna flow, especially. I know it's not directly related. I know the agentic AI supposedly, it have more persistency, right? Because it needs persistency and memory, etc. So, Kubernetes is moving into the realm of having running database on Kubernetes, which is supposed to be stateless. So all
Yeah.
that means the data, which is basically the data that cannot be thrown away, become important. So how did the CI/CD is that even considered? I think that's my question.
I really like that idea. So that's something that we've been exploring too, is this idea of stateful workloads on Kubernetes specifically, and like which databases are actually really good for this. Cassandra is a really good example. I think Postgres has been like very tried and true as well. I spoke with some of the Postgres guys over the weekend. Like MySQL, like there's a lot of different tools out there, like TiDB as well, which are really like meant to interact with Kubernetes. But like the lay of the land is so like it's a little bit hard to understand exactly what the landscape is, and I think kind of laying out some of these and bringing together something that's very similar to what you presented in terms of like how complete is this support, like are there Helm charts that are available, are we able, like how is anybody using it in production, like what are some use cases that we're seeing of this and how people are working on it. I think that's a really cool place to go.
Yeah, I think there are definitely value in investigating to how to run database on Kubernetes. But I'm not traditional database guy.
Mhm.
I said I worked for Oracle actually for 17 years.
Yeah.
But I might take it a little different. I feel that there's definitely value in to run some database in the Kubernetes ecosystem. So this workload is kind of portable across
Mhm.
public cloud or different cloud. But I think the biggest opportunity doesn't lie in running a database on Kubernetes, which is a cool idea, but it's not designed for that.
Mhm.
The biggest opportunity lies in how to use Kubernetes as a kind of control plane, which has a
Yeah.
data persistent layer to orchestrate database outside of Kubernetes. I think that's one area has not been touched a lot. I think that's really where the core. If you look at the component of the Salesforce, how Salesforce define the data cloud, including a lot of things outside of the Salesforce the proper, right, not outside the SaaS application itself. I think that's where really the data cloud should be. And then that's where the CI/CD pipeline for data could be really helpful.
Yeah. Have you heard of Apache Unicorn by any chance?
No, I've been a database. I'm pretty familiar with a lot because I've been doing that for a long time, and I
Yeah.
used to do global internal book club within Oracle. So, but now that one, yeah, there's so many. There's just tons
Yeah.
of databases, and
So
um,
the reason why I mention is because Apache Unicorn is not a database, but it's a scheduler, a Kubernetes native scheduler that's meant specifically for batch processing jobs and data engineering. It's not as well known as it should be, to be honest. It was a Cloudera project. And I think that it kind of touches on some of the things that you mentioned. I'd love to explore these ideas though. Would you be interested in helping write a blog post on this? I think that it's a really, really cool
um,
idea.
yeah, I love to. I'm just pretty still kind of green on the CI/CD side. So if I need to
Yeah.
partner with someone who know that side to
That's
do that.
okay. What I would suggest that you do, because we're still pretty early, grab like a Google Doc. Maybe we can give you access to our drive. Put some of these notes down, like very loose ideas on kind of what you want to cover, and then we'll have some folks co-write it with you. And we'll have some technical editors in there as well. But for the really high level ideas that you've mentioned here, I'd love to have those be part of like you shaping it specifically, and we'll hash it out. So we're not gonna be like, okay, Victor, just go write this blog post and then we'll assume that it's ready to go.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, okay, yeah, I'd love to do
yeah,
that. I'm on the CD Slack workspace, so we can
okay.
probably start there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll message you, and if you fill out the form, I'll have your email and I'll create the doc and everything. Hi,
Okay.
Ronnie.
Hi, Bonnie.
Hi, you guys.
How are
Hi.
you?
I joined in a bit late. I had to make sure that my daughter is out the house first before I can start. Like be online and focus.
Yeah.
How are
No
you guys
worries.
doing?
Good. We're happy to have you with us. What should we do like another really quick round of introductions as well? Just we have enough people that we can do it, so I think it's fine.
Yeah.
I can go first. My name is Lisa. I am helping start and run this initiative, and I'm mostly a data engineer by trade, but I also have a lot of interest and know a lot of people within the DevOps community, and I'm a CDF ambassador. So yeah, happy to meet you.
Thank you. Should I go next?
Yes,
Yeah.
of course. Yeah.
Yeah. Hi. My name is Bonnie. So I'm currently working for Yahoo, and I'm basically the contributors of Scrubber project that is one of the projects part of CDF. Also, in addition to that, I basically the team lead for that the development of the project.
Mhm.
So I've been in touch with Roxanne for like most of the time. So yeah, I think this is my first time meeting you, Lisa.
Yeah. Well, I'm happy to get in touch and thank you for coming today.
Yep.
And why are you interested, Vani, like in this initiative?
Um, Basically, I think mostly I like to network with the rest of the DevOps community, trying to learn what is interesting in your space. And if possible, like maybe I can also share what we are dealing with, in terms of like DevOps in general at Yahoo. And of course, like sharing more about what we are doing in the space of Screwdriver, like what are the new developments or we are seeing that we can contribute more to the open source community.
Cool. So this is the DataOps meeting, and then I also invited you to the outreach meeting. They're two different ones.
Oh,
It's
okay.
okay. It's okay. If you do
Ah,
want
okay.
to contribute to the DataOps stuff, here's the form. You don't have to. But yeah, if you do have an opinion or a use case for data, I think that's cool too.
I
But you can
see.
think about it. I also will post a blog post 1 second.
Yeah, because I only remember it was on a
Wednesday. Yeah,
Wednesday.
it's
Oh,
in 2
February
weeks.
12. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's
Okay.
okay.
I
This
see.
is what we're talking about today.
I see. Well, if it is dealing with data, maybe I can go later after the introduction. So
Yeah, I send you the blog post. There's no rush.
okay.
It's nice to meet you though. Like we've never chatted before.
Yes, that's right. We always just chatted on
Yeah.
the Slack.
So Lisa, I'm gonna message all these folks and say thank you for applying. And do you want to communicate with them on Slack or email, like me? You know, how do you prefer?
I prefer email right now. I think that the Slack is really great for people to reach out to me ad hoc, but I do think like there's a lot of email fatigue, but there's also a lot of Slack fatigue as well. Sometimes can occur. So if folks are on the Slack already, they'll already be able to find me and ping me.
Yeah, I'll put them on the mailing list. I will tell
Yeah.
them that. And then whenever we have something, which shouldn't be that often, we'd probably be dealing with people personally on what they're working on.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I will invite them all to the meeting, of course.
Fantastic. I loved the variety of people and like
Yeah.
where they came from. I think that was really interesting to see. It was just from all of these different places by word of mouth.
Yeah, and I'm sending a newsletter tomorrow to our whole CDF, like our quarterly thing, and I put it in there. So let's see what happens.
Yeah, well, that's exciting. This is a really cool kickoff. So,
Yeah.
okay.
Is this a new forum as well, the DataOps initiative?
Yeah.
I see.
We just launched.
We're very fresh on it.
I see. Okay.
Yeah.
And with the DataOps initiative, um, what is like the majority of the topics and how it is different from the DevOps?
So most of it is running data platform components with a CI/CD lens. So things like data contracts, data lake, maybe some event triggered systems for data pipelines, data quality stuff. Some of these tools can be really specialized, even just within the data community. And I think that there's a lot of DevOps teams within organizations that are trying to help data engineers with these workflows, but not necessarily understanding maybe some of the language or some of the unique concepts that come into running analytical workloads specifically. And so we're here to help kind of bridge that understanding, if that makes sense.
Analytical workloads in general, or analytical workloads of activities or events that are part of DevOps?
In general. So anything that comes with like, say, something that an analyst might touch, or like some of the data transformations that we're using to build these pipelines. I think that there's a very messy world in there that's only slightly getting better.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, and the idea too is to eventually extend into, I think, like ML ops and agent ops, because I think it's a large part of the machine learning platform. But right now we're kind of still focused on like more of the producing rather than the consuming of data.
Yeah, like internally, I mean, not really part of the open source project, but internally, we do want to like evolve into like a company that adopts some kind of like DORA metrics culture.
Mhm.
And within our CI/CD system itself, there are actually a lot of data that we can absorb and then turn it into insights to understand like deployment rate, failure rate, and all those. But yeah, we don't have a dedicated like data engineer, basically, which is probably who is probably better suited in terms of like building this kind of like ETL process to transform like raw data into like analytics. So we are kind of like in the stage of like we are using Databricks. I don't know if you guys, I mean,
Yeah.
probably very well known. It's a it's a well-known startup. So basically, we are leveraging that platform because it offers a lot of things off shelf, and we absorb the raw data of all of the events that happen in the CI/CD. And of course, it cannot be too expensive. So actually, we run it every day, and we run the raw data every day, and then using some, and then the ETL process then will kick off after seeing the new data coming in. Basically, we just connect our Databricks to, like, we set up like some scheduling job to look at our S3 bucket where our data dump is stored, and then with that, after the raw data is collected, then we perform some ETL process and then transfer like insights. But what's the problem generally is the performance of the data, the performance of like loading the data itself. I think it's not scalable right now. It's very slow. Yeah, like when, I mean, we managed to turn it into insights. The problem is when we load up the dashboard, for example, it takes a long time. Like I think I can sit down and drink coffee and then, go somewhere and then come back and then so maybe that's something that we want to improve, like I don't know if this is the right forum like to talk about it, but that's definitely something that we are doing in our space as well.
I definitely think it's the right forum. So we just had a conversation at one of the conferences I was at around this idea of business intelligence operations. Like, how can you set up not only teams, but processes that actually create iterable dashboards and continuous dashboards, and deploying those in a way that's very intentional. It's quite hard because a lot of the tools around this ecosystem are quite vendor driven and aren't necessarily open source. So the interoperability is really hard. Within something like Databricks, I think that there's probably ways that you can improve this performance. It doesn't sound like, I could be wrong, but hopefully you're not dealing with a ton of data, so it should not be so difficult in my opinion. I would be very interested to kind of go through the process of optimizing that and then sharing that journey that you guys have gone through as your team. Like, I think that's a very fun and interesting story to have. And we have a lot of experts too that we can kind of look closely at the architecture and go like, okay, where's the bottleneck? Like, why are we reprocessing a ton of data that's unnecessary, right? Is there something here that we can change at like maybe the schema level? And things like that. I think that that's a really fun idea to go through. I'd be happy to have you with us on that.
Yeah, I wasn't the one who actually did the ETL. One of my team members actually work on that. I'll invite him. If not, then I will, like catch up with him to basically understand like the ETL process that was done beneath in terms of like transforming the raw data into analytics. But I believe we are like, if you are thinking about like the size of our data, we might have a fresh data around 80,000 builds per day, and then we accumulate all of those like in 30 days bucket. So like 80,000 times. I mean, it's not a big giant data, but yeah, I believe there's something that we need to improve in order for us to be able to.
Yeah, for 80K rows, you said?
Yeah, 80,000 rows per day that we are looking. And then we want historical data, so we accumulate that.
Yeah.
At
See
least
that in my world, that's not much at all.
Yeah, it's not much data, right? I mean,
yeah. And so, yeah, I totally think that there's something that I'd love to explore around. And I think that I love that idea and the story of, the DevOps team going in on that troubleshooting process, right? And then collaborating with the engineering team to go, is this, SQL job maybe super like unperformant? Is this running unnecessarily? I think that's, and you know what? I think that the team member that set it up probably, had to do it, kind of blind a little bit too. So I think that this is part of the knowledge sharing process. So
right. Yeah. I think maybe like when we join the data, something that we can further optimize, like-
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
Cool.
I'll take note. I'll take note of that. And share it with you guys more.
It gave me an idea while you were talking, Lisa. Like, we do have the landscape and we want to improve it. If you want, in the future, we can make a data ops section and have all the open source tools and maybe non-open source tools, but all the options of what people can use to do data ops.
Yeah.
I really like that, yeah. Because I think the tooling is one of the biggest mismatches between the DevOps landscape and the data like engineering slash, MLOps landscape as well. So much of that tooling is so specialized, like Kubeflow or MLflow, for instance, or Airflow. Like I think understanding Airflow is critical to DevOps engineers, but it's such like a messy tool sometimes that I think that any real DevOps teams that kind of takes a look at Airflow is like, why are you guys using this? We've had orchestrators that work way better than this. Why are you doing this? But it's like that's kind of the issue with Airflow is that it's a tool by data engineers, built by data engineers with no understanding of like true DevOps practices and what was out there. So
Yeah.
Did
and,
you, sorry, go ahead, Bonnie.
Yeah, and vice versa. Like data engineer don't really understand DevOps don't understand data engineering.
yeah. And this is the whole initiative in a nutshell.
Lisa, did you want me to poke the CNCF community, see if anyone wants to come contribute, or we'll see if we need to do that in the future?
I've talked to the data on Kubernetes community, so they're aware of us. I think that I'm actually the bottleneck because I haven't gotten back to them.
see.
But they're interested in contributing on the cloud native data sections for sure.
Okay, cool.
I think that there's a lot of places to explore around there. So yeah,
You can always loop me into anything like that, and I will do that
yes.
like I did with data AI LF.
Yes, I would love to have you on that as well. I can't remember who their community manager is, but he was really fantastic.
That's cool.
On the data on Kubernetes community. Also I know that Lori is part of it as well. She's got her fingers in everything, but if you poke her, she'll always
Yes,
do the right
I don't
thing.
know how she does it, but yeah.
It's insane. So yeah, I think that one thing that we can discuss, though, I think once we have everybody into the room is we'll have a lot of folks interested in different subjects and kind of trying to cut down on what we'll try and focus on instead of having a bunch of half-baked ideas around how can we create more concrete materials and start that pipeline up of how to get people to write efficiently and well before we start really trying to do like we're going to write 10 blog posts in concert with each other and it's all going to magically develop into course materials. I think that there's a real risk there of it getting too messy. So
And Vonnie, in 2 weeks at the next meeting, we're gonna do a presentation and then discuss all of the ways people can contribute and start assigning, roles. Hi, yeah, Victor.
Yeah, have you contacted the DOK, the database data on Kubernetes community?
yes, we were just talking about them. So they are interested in having writers and editors on as well. So I think that they would be a great initiative to pair with your blog post specifically, actually.
Yeah, I got your link. I posted what I actually proposed to who the guy who the current bad memory the current community lead. So because the meeting is always in conflict with my many other meetings, I couldn't join their meeting. But I posted what I put in the original proposal there in the document you just shared.
Yes. Let me find Paul O. So the community
Paul, yeah.
Yeah, Paul. He's definitely aware of us and so the last time we spoke, because I had presented this in their meeting, they were putting together a getting started guide actually in the data on Kubernetes meeting community that we wanted to help push as well. And so the idea was that when a lot of that material was together, we would kind of jump them in on the initiative to kind of help kickstart it. So if you actually want to help be that facilitator in between both, I think that would be fantastic. And if you talk to Paul directly, he'll know about us, which is great. So you don't have to explain too much what we are.
Yeah, I definitely feel there's because that community, as I said, they focus on Kubernetes, data on Kubernetes only, almost, at least the community. I know Paul wanted to do more things, but the community is more of a just database on Kubernetes. I think this initiative expand the horizon. I think there should be some synergy between the two community.
Yeah, that's a really interesting conversation to have, and I'm happy to jump in on any time. But if you want to spearhead it, I'm super supportive of that.
Yeah, actually, even I know if you and Paul get to have a chance to talk, I would rather really get on and see, because I see that a lot of synergy can happen. Because he talked about, you know, I posted this actually in the DOK channel, and have some community member talk to some community member. But I think, as I said, I think the just because the vendors, you can say, the project developers in that community, just focusing on totally yeah, I don't think they know the, you know, CI/CD, the DataOps, not interested, at least not as much interest in
Yeah,
that. Yeah.
I think that's really interesting. Did you see the Google Doc that I think Roxanne made just now?
He already dropped
Perfect.
his stuff in there.
Oh, fantastic. Oh my God, we're running to the moon with this
Too
one.
fast.
But Vani, is there a good way for us to keep in touch as well? In between meetings, if you have any questions? You're on the Slack, right? So you should be able to hopefully message me at any time. Just Lisa Cow on there.
Yeah, I'm on the CDF Slack.
Okay, fantastic.
Normally that's where I like communicate with Roxanne.
I also have Vonnie's email if you need it, Lisa.
Yeah. Oh, I saw you, Lisa, I think. Yeah.
Okay, fantastic.
I will just, like DM you just so that you have it. And I'm gonna give you my email as well over there.
Okay.
By the way, the CDF is a cool name. I was a student, PhD candidate at the Fermi National Lab, and the division is called CDF.
Oh,
Right,
yeah?
Direct Detector Fermi Lab. That's
Yeah.
Are you in Canada, Victor?
No, I was in Fermi Lab. I'm in Florida right now, Tampa, Florida.
That
Yeah,
very
you said that.
Where are you guys located then? Like Lisa and Roxanne? I know we are always talking weird hours.
Yeah, I used to live in Canada, and then I moved to Germany in 2016, so I live here now. Yeah.
What about you, Lisa?
I'm currently in San Francisco. I used to live in Vancouver, Canada. So I've been a West Coast person for my entire life, it seems.
Oh, we are close by. I'm
Oh.
in Milpitas.
Oh my gosh,
Yeah,
we're
Bay
very
Area.
look at
We are close by.
I love it.
Yeah, maybe
Yeah.
we can meet up in person, like some of these days,
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I run a meetup here as well called Data for AI, and it's very data engineering focused, but I'd love to get more like of these topics in specifically and kind of do some more special stuff. So maybe we'll have you present on like Screwdriver or some of the stuff going on at Yahoo as well if you're interested.
Yeah, for sure. Just, like we'll get in touch. Just let me
Yes,
know.
absolutely. I'm also going to link here. I think this is in our drive, but it's the module template. Victor, I don't want you to get overwhelmed by this, but this is sort of the stuff that I think is good to have in the back of the mind as we're kind of creating some of these materials. The blog posts don't have to adhere to this, but this is the idea of like, at least what kind of learning objectives and what sort of technical stuff do we want people to have as requirements so that they're jumping in. I think I'm going to make a much more like a watered down version of this because I think it's a little overwhelming, but I'm gonna
I think it's also nice to have a little guide. You can say you don't have to do this, but
yeah.
the hardest part is always starting. And so if you already have an outline, I think that's
Yeah, I'm gonna post Victor, I hope you don't mind if I just post some of the stuff that I think is relevant in your blog post specifically.
No, I think it's good.
Yeah.
I easily forget things, so that's good to put somewhere.
Yeah.
Because I can consume information extremely fast, but forget things extremely fast too.
Yeah, there you go. So I posted some of the things out at the bottom there that I think would be a good outline for you. And feel free to keep what you have currently. But just as long as we kind of, give people, I think the starting point of, okay, I've read this amazing blog post. Now what do I do? I think that's going to be really the actionable part of, who do I talk to next to kind of talk about in my organization, like how do I work with Kubernetes more? How do I actually bring these ideas? And then also kind of considering what are some follow-up materials that I would want to go into to kind of get deeper into it.
Yeah, sounds good.
Yeah.
I just realized I should have taken more notes. I mean, I did. I'll make a doc with notes.
I can add into the notes as well. We can get like a running meeting minutes.
Yeah, I'll do that.
But I think generally speaking, Roxanne, you and I are going to be working on maybe the S-bomb to D-bomb blog post.
Yeah, I already wrote myself a to-do to start that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then Vani in the future use case maybe. And yeah. And then, so I don't message Paul because you will do that, or you still want me to?
Yeah, Victor, I can actually start a group chat with Paul as well. I think, Victor, are you on the DOK?
Yes. Yep.
Yeah. Okay, so I'll start a little group chat with Paul on the DOK Slack. And then we can discuss together. And then maybe I'll just invite you, Roxanne, to the DOK Slack as well so that you're in on those conversations.
Yeah, this is what I find being active in the open source community in the past two plus years. And the first few weeks really need to be fast. Otherwise, you lose momentum really easily.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. The pace that these tools are kind of coming out in, it's so hard to keep up. Yeah, which reminds me of the landscape as well. Now, I think that will be a beast to kind of get started on.
I mean, we could do it
It's
little
okay
by
to
little, yeah.
yeah, it's okay to start something and let it stand and people think about it. But if you just have a meeting and just keep on having like in organization internal meetings in a few it doesn't take it a few weeks, maybe just a couple of weeks, you lose the interest from most people.
Yeah. Yeah, I
am a good cat herder, so it'll be okay.
Yeah, I mean, half of that job has been just hurting me, but
But once we get more people, I won't have to hurt you so much, you know?
Yeah, they'll hurt me for me. But yeah, I think that is there anything else that we wanted to discuss really quickly, just on the operational side of things?
I don't think so.
Oh, okay.
Oh, just scheduling wise, I'm independent at this point, so I can be pretty flexible, but I do quite I kind of shoot pretty quickly in the days. So early morning, and I know Eastern time, early morning, or so you're on the West Coast, so late night is good for me too. I mean, not like before 10 p.m. let's say, or even weekend. That's usually I don't have any meetings.
Well, I scheduled these for the same time every 2 weeks, so hopefully that works. But we will also record them, and if you can't make them, you can also talk to us async as well.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that this is great. We'll for the next steps, I'll try and add some more things into Victor's blog post as well, but once we get the DOK community on it and more editors, I think that I think people will start having these ideas that will start branching out, and it might get so like unwieldy that we'll have to break it up into maybe 1 or 2 parts. We'll see.
Yeah.
But I'm very excited to see that it's kicked off already. So thank you, Victor, a ton. Yeah.
Victor, do you want to put like publish this by end of February just to have a goal, or you think it'll happen anyway? Yes, okay.
It depends on what type of content. I usually think it's once we get started, it's good, but it's probably, I don't know, depend on, I guess, what kind of, if we want to have really in-depth discussions and then a blog based on that, I think it will take some time. Yeah. But it's,
Well, we'll see. We'll see
yeah.
then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If we have a general consensus, okay, we want to put it out so that get interest. So it can be pretty, kind of pretty superficial kind of marketing type. Yeah, we can do that earlier.
I mean, you can decide. Just let me know in 2 weeks, and then I know when to start bugging you. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I
Just so
think
we
if we
don't forget
can,
about it, as we said.
if we can have a Zoom conversation with Paul this week, then I can probably decide.
Yeah, that sounds good. I don't want to make this too deep because I think that the reason why we're doing these blog posts first is so that we don't have to put that on ourselves to really have to create like a full book chapter in 2 weeks. I think that's really hard. I really like what you have currently in terms of direction. I think that the only thing it's really missing is like maybe some examples of different deployments that people have done. There's a book out there called Managing Cloud Native Data, and I go through some of their figures. I know the writers, so they're quite interested in this topic as well. But I think like just kind of pulling some of the diagrams from that book and kind of understanding who are the key stakeholders in this, and then doing some diagrams around what that would look like, or kind of doing some further reading recommendations are all that's needed left in here.
Yeah, let's
Yeah.
by the way, I have a local conference this Friday, so
Yeah.
Oh,
and other than that, yeah, so it'll be just today, tomorrow, and
Yeah.
Thursday.
No,
Thursday,
we're definitely thinking on like a 2 to 3 week timeline. So there's no
Yeah.
pressure at all.
don't worry.
Yeah. Don't worry about
This
it.
is a volunteer thing. We're not
Yeah,
gonna.
we're not like you gotta do this. So yeah.
This is actually fun for me, so don't bother me. But I'm actually quite open on weekend if you're okay.
Yeah. Fantastic. Yeah, and I think that's pretty much all from my side. If we have nothing more, then we can close out a little bit early, if need be. But yeah. Roxanne, is there anything else that you wanted to discuss?
Mm-mm.
No?
I'm
Okay.
happy with. I just wasn't sure what to write to the people. That's most
Yeah.
of my. Yeah.
Yeah, well, prepare a
Yeah, I'll start a doc.
Yeah.
Should I base it on a certain presentation you have, or?
I shared with you my previous one, I think, but it should be a little bit more akin to what we did at the outreach meeting than like the presentation that I did. I think that one was a little bit too technical. And I think one of the things that I would like in there as well is more of an explanation around the CDF. We'll be getting quite a mix of folks from data as well, and I think they won't have any idea what the CDF is or does. So I think
I have those
interesting.
slides in my back
Yeah.
pocket to pull out.
If I had to explain what an S-bomb was over the weekend, I think we're gonna have to start from scratch.
All right. Okay, well, that's cool. It was nice to meet you all. And I'm excited.
Yes, excited. Well, hope to see you all in the next couple of weeks, and this will be a very fun year. And I can't wait to bring this all back to the data community and go like, look, we can be much more efficient. All we have to do is listen to the DevOps friends that we have.
Work together.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, cool.
Okay, cool.
Have a
Thank
good
you so much,
day.
guys. Yeah, have a nice day. Bye.
Cheers, everyone.
Bye.